Oh, you want to play psycho killer? Can I be the helpless victim?
Cross your eyes and scream, man. Scream for your life.
Welcome, Scream Things. I'm your host, Jenica Olin. This is my 34th episode. New month, new theme. For July, we're getting into the late 90s, early 2000s teen slashers with a theme I'm calling Summer Slashfest. A group of high school misfits begins to suspect something's wrong with their teachers, more than the usual things. As students start acting strange, the faculty members grow eerily in sync. The students uncover a chilling truth. Their school is on the front lines of an alien invasion. If you're new here, each episode will have an intro, brief synopsis of the movie, an analysis of the film, and then I get into the true horrors of it all. I'm a huge true crime fan, and I like to make connections between the true horrors that inspire our darkest imagination. The truth is, the stuff on screen, The truth is, the stuff on screen is way tamer than the true horrors that take place every day. Spoiler alert, I've made it my job to spoil the shit out of this movie. Today I'll be covering the 1998 teen slasher, The Faculty, directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by David Wechter, Bruce Kimmel, and Kevin Williamson, starring Jordana Brewster, Clea Duvall, and Laura Harris, plus a bunch of other people who I'll be mentioning later. This is a stacked cast. The estimated budget was $15 million, and the estimated gross worldwide was $40 million. The tagline for this film: 6 students are about to find out their teachers really are from another planet. Some quick trivia about this film: the drug test scene is a homage to the blood test in The Thing. This was the film debut for Jordana Brewster. Principal Drake gets her name from the Drake equation, which is used to estimate how much intelligent life there is in the universe. That's a deep cut. Clea Duvall, who plays Stokes, is a lesbian actress playing a heterosexual girl pretending to be lesbian to scare people off. She's a lesbian actress playing a girl pretending to be a lesbian to scare people off. When they're discussing the aliens, they mention a master, but the first person to refer to a queen and continually refer to her as a her is Mary Beth, foreshadowing herself as the queen alien. Among the motivational banners in the school's locker room is a sign that says, "The will to win comes from within," which is particularly appropriate considering the body snatcher nature of the alien invaders taking over the staff and students' body. So let's set the scene with a synopsis of the movie.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers' dirty looks.
The students at Harrington High have always suspected their teachers were from another planet.
Is this gonna be on the test?
This is the test.
This time, they're right.
One evening at Harrington High School in Ohio, several teachers and the principal leave after discussions about the school's budget. Having left her keys behind, Principal Valerie Drake returns to retrieve them. In her office, she's barred from leaving by Coach Willis, who becomes increasingly erratic. As she attempts to leave, Willis impulsively stabs a pencil through her hand. Valerie flees to the entrance, only to find the door chained up, and the drama teacher, Miss Olson, is outside. She retrieves her keys and grabs a pair of scissors. Outside, Miss Olson emotionlessly grabs the scissors and stabs Valerie to death. The following morning, the film's 6 protagonist students are introduced. Casey Connor, the dedicated but perpetually klutzy and harassed geek photographer, the spiteful Delilah Prophet, the paper's editor-in-chief and head cheerleader, Delilah's mistreated boyfriend, Stan Rosado, who is contemplating quitting the school's football team to pursue academics. Zeke Tyler, an intelligent yet rebellious student repeating his senior year who sells, among other illegal items, a powdery ecstasy-like drug he manufactures and distributes. Zeke is confronted by the timid Miss Elizabeth Burke, who expresses concern for him over his illegal activities. A naive transfer student from Atlanta, Georgia, Mary Beth Louise Hutchinson, attempts to befriend self-styled outcast Stokely Mitchell, despite the fact that Delilah has deliberately spread rumors that Stokes is a lesbian even though she has a crush on Stan. While eating lunch on the football field, Casey notices a strange creature in the grass. He takes it to the class teacher, Mr. Furlong, where the specimen is examined and believed to be a new species of cephalopod-specific parasite called a mesozoan.
Replicate. Jesus.
Delilah takes Casey into the teacher's lounge to find a story for the front page, where they hide in the closet. They witness Coach Willis and Miss Olson assault the school nurse, Miss Harper, by forcing one of the creatures into her ear. They also find the body of Miss Brumwell. Casey and Delilah flee, and Casey calls the police. Principal Drake claims nothing is wrong, that Casey is seeking attention. The next day, Casey tells Delilah, Stan, and Stokely that he believes the teachers are being controlled by aliens. After Zeke and Mary Beth enter the classroom and tease them about their theory, Mr. Furlong confronts them. Furlong suddenly becomes defensive and attempts to infect them. Zeke cuts off Furlong's fingers and then injects his homemade drug into Furlong's eye. Zeke takes the other 5 to his house, where he examines the experiments with Casey's specimen. He discovers that it needs water to survive and can be killed by his drugs because it's a diuretic. Zeke makes everyone take some of the drugs to prove they're human and unaffected.
You both take it.
You can't, you know I can't.
You have to take it.
Delilah is revealed as infected, and she destroys Zeke's lab and most of his drug supply before escaping. Acting on Stokely's speculation that killing the queen alien would revert everyone to normal, the group returns to the school that evening, where their football team is playing a game and infecting opposing players. Believing Principal Drake to be the queen, they isolate her in the gym and fatally shoot her. Stan goes outside and confronts the coach and football team to see if it worked, but gets infected. Zeke and Casey go to Zeke's car to retrieve more of Zeke's drugs. Casey leads infected students away from Zeke, who encounters Miss Burke in the parking lot and seemingly kills her when he makes his escape. Back at the gym, Stokely becomes suspicious of Mary Beth during a conversation about pretending to be what one isn't.
Stan, he didn't look unhappy. It's because it wasn't Stan. It took away who he was. Or maybe they just bettered who he was. Cleared away his confusion.
Mary Beth subsequently reveals herself to be the alien queen. Earlier, she faked taking the drug. Casey and Stokely flee to the swimming pool, where Stokely gets injured and becomes infected. Zeke and Casey hide in the locker room, where Mary Beth reverts to her human disguise. She explains that she's taking over Earth because her own planet is dying. Mary Beth transforms back into her true form and hurls Zeke across the room into several lockers, knocking him out. Casey seizes the drug and tricks the queen into following him through retracting bleachers. Casey then stabs the drug into the queen's eye. The queen infects Casey with her dying breath.
Guaranteed to jack you up.
But Casey almost immediately returns to normal upon the queen's death. The dead body of the alien queen dissolves into powdered remains. Casey returns to the locker room and finds Stokely and Zeke alive. 1 month later, everyone has returned to normal. Stan and Stokely begin dating, and Zeke takes Stan's place on the football team. Mr. Furlong has miraculously survived the attack. Casey begins dating Delilah and has been considered a local hero. So now it's time to talk horror, and today my guest is Christopher James. He is a movie reviewer for Macabre Daily, and he's also the host of I Love Horror podcasts, which I have had the honor of being a guest on. So it's so great to have you here.
Wow, honor. I don't think anyone's ever been honored to have a conversation with me ever, but no, that is me in a nutshell. You know, my Superman persona, and when I'm Clark Kent, I just have a stupid ass day job, but that's the most exciting thing about me is everything that you just said.
Where can people find you, and what are you currently working on?
So the best place to find me is just I_love_horror_podcasts on Instagram and TikTok. Macabre _Christopher_reviews. I like underscores for some reason. But I don't know. If you put all the name stuff together, it just looks sloppy to me. And I can't do it. Currently working on
Capital is not enough to
no, I
differentiate.
need space. I'm a big man. I'm used to like trying to make my own space, so I have to. But what I'm working on, I just started a YouTube channel for the podcast. I am finishing a book that I'm doing. I'm putting it on Amazon Kindle. It's just an unofficial horror guide for beginners. So get people interested. It's got a little bit of a quirk to it. It's me talking about some of my real life stories, and I also have some stuff coming up with movie reviews that's going to be taking a shift a little bit. So stay tuned to that.
Okay, yeah. All right. So today we're here to talk about The Faculty, which came out in what year?
I want to say 97 or 99.
It was 98.
Oh, so close. Always in the middle.
So close. So this was an interesting time in my life when this came out. I was definitely high school, this was probably my freshman year about, I'm not going to do the math in my head right now, but I think that sounds about right. And, this came right after Scream and all those kind of movies came out, and it kind of rode on the coattails of that. But it's very different in tone, and it's a sci-fi horror movie. We start out the movie with the beginning scene. It has Miss Drake, and she is just devastating every teacher in that staff room.
They fucking hate her. They hate her guts.
Oh, they hate her so much. As a former teacher, I'm like, oh, she's that bitch. She's cutting the budgets of everything. They're like, I really want to do this trip for these kids. Some of these teachers really care about the kids and want to do stuff for them. But she's like, well, my hands are tied. So it is what it is, basically. And they bring up like the football team, like, oh, but they're going to get their new jerseys and all this stuff. And she's like, well, yeah, that's what pays for our school, basically.
It's sad. It's sad, but it's true. Sports take over any, extracurricular funds. And I've never been a teacher, but I've been a student of many things. And yeah, I think that would be dumb. I never liked the jocks when I grew up.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. She ends up running into Coach, and Coach is like, she thinks he's drunk and he's being very belligerent and very harassing to her. And she's like, all right, enough of this. And that's when he asks for a pencil, and she's like, you don't need a pencil. You need to go home. But she gives him the pencil anyway, because as women, we placate to whatever the request is to try to hope that it will go away. I think, women do it, but men do it too, but we do it a lot more. And so he takes the pencil and he shoves it through her hand. That was a very shocking scene.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I was 13 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And, I haven't seen as much horror movies then than I have now, but I mean, geez, I'm almost 40. So like what, 20 something, almost 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that scene the first time. I was watching with my friends, and as soon as that happened, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
That was just my junior high reaction to things. Fuck, bro.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? It comes out of nowhere. And then he says, like, I always wanted to do that.
I always wanted to stab a pencil through your hand because I hate you.
they set her up as like this villain of the school to begin with anyway. She's like taking the funding away, but he's the coach. He gets fucking anything he wants anyway.
Yeah.
So, but it basically like we don't know yet that there is an aquatic alien extraterrestrial life form that
Yeah.
has taken him over, but we do know that, that seems odd. That doesn't seem like a normal behavior to do. And so she's running out, and then she eventually, there's a bunch of shit with the keys, and then eventually she makes it out.
Well, there's that whistle scene too, which was really weird. Do you remember that? He just runs at her with a whistle.
Yeah, right before she gets out.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was so football. It was very much a football coach thing to do.
Yeah, do they run at people and aggressively and blow a whistle? I don't know. I've never done sports.
I mean, maybe to the students, maybe when he's coaching them on the field, I can maybe see that.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was supposed to be referenced to, but she makes it out, and then the other teacher, she stabs her with the scissors.
Yeah, she just goes full on, Hitchcock stab, where you just have the like back of your hand and back and forth and back and forth. And it was her face. I love her face when she does this, by the way, because there's no emotion. She's just a meat puppet doing whatever.
Yep. And then she says the same thing he said. She says, I always wanted to do that.
Which is weird. Like, is there anybody in the school who just like, I always wanted to go see a movie with her. I always wanted to grab a beer. But now that I'm possessed with this alien, the aquatic alien, it's the age of Aquarius, apparently. Yeah. They don't want to hang out with her. They just want to stab her and do weird shit.
Yeah, they just want to kill her. So one thing about this movie, it was stacked with the cast. Like we had Salma Hayek, Femke Jensen, Elijah Wood, Jon Stewart, Christopher McDonald, and then Josh Hartnett. Like this,
like cast, early Josh Hartnett. Like this was like his second role. I think Halloween H2O was his first one before this.
Yeah, it was, and he almost got fired. His haircut is fucking horrible.
Oh yeah, he looks like trash.
Apparently, I like when I was doing my little research. He cut his own hair, and he did it because he felt like it looked more authentic to be like a kid that was not taken care of. I guess on Halloween H2O, they didn't want him to do that. Someone wanted him fired, but they ended up losing the battle and he stayed on. But like they were going to fire him over his hair.
I mean, let's be honest. He had shitty hair for 10 years. Like he just had that shitty hairstyle. And even in the movie, he's not that much of a poor kid. He's a rich kid with absentee parents. That's all he is, who deals drugs.
Yeah, this is true. He didn't need the shitty haircut, but he wanted it.
Seeing Elijah Wood get his, like, well, this never happened to me, but seeing him get rammed, into the flagpole with his nuts reminded me, like, man, high school sucked.
Yeah.
It really does. And it's like that Bowling for Soup song, High School Never Ends, because that's just people who are shitty in high school are shitty most of the time. But I got bullied in high school. Did you?
Yes and no. So I got bullied in high school, but I got bullied in high school the way that Stokely got bullied in high school. You would try to fuck with me, but like I would come for you. Then it was like I became the scary girl. Like I literally had at one point my science partner in high school, she was like, oh, you're actually nice. Like she was like one of the popular kids and I got stuck with her. And she's like, oh, you're actually nice. Like I was so scared of you. Like I was so scared to talk to you because I mean, full disclosure, I'm a bitch. And like there was a time where this girl was like talking shit or something. I would call you out. I'd be like, let's take it outside type thing. And these little white girls that were the preppy girls that just wanted to talk shit about me, they were not ready to fight me.
So they talked a big game, but they couldn't back it up.
Yeah.
See, I wish I had that. So I grew up in Utah, so I got bullied by Mormons. That's what I got bullied by, and it's really bad. I got bullied by Mormons, and I'd be like, you know what, fuck you. And they're like, oh, you think you're cool because you can swear, huh? You need Christ in your life. And I'm like, no, because if finally when I grew some confidence, I'm like, why would I want Christ in my life? Look at you. Christ apparently makes people assholes. I don't want to be an asshole. And
That's so good.
and eventually I like my sense of humor came out. I've always had that with my friends, but then I got the confidence to say whatever I wanted. And I got bullied, but I hung out I was a little sampler person in every little group, the stoners, the jocks. I was that guy in the middle of high school. But Mormons, they don't like it when you can swear and they can't. They say fudge, and I say fuck.
No, we beat them with that for sure.
Yeah. I had a lot of weird experiences growing up in Utah, not being Mormon, hanging out with stoners, being able to swear, being promiscuous.
You should have been the cool kid.
Yeah, I am and always will. I just got along with people. I was the funny guy. I was a funny fat guy. Everybody wants a funny fat guy around. And so became the title for the rest of my life.
On that note, social hierarchy is one of the themes in this movie. So if you look at the characters in relation to like Breakfast Club, so I guess they were kind of modeled off of Breakfast Club. But okay, so our princess is Delilah, our jock is Stan, the brain is Casey, our outcast is Stokely, and then we've got our criminal stereotype Zeke, who just happens to be the adult that got held back and just really loves being in high school. And this is a big hint because we've got Mary Beth that joins their group, but she doesn't fit into any of those stereotypes. She's like this little new Southern girl that's just so sweet and innocent. Like she doesn't fit any of those stereotypes, really.
Yeah, she's very kind. Even when they first introduce her, she's like, "Hi, I'm just looking for the principal's office," and the two like punk kids are just nice about it. They just like point and they're like, "Oh, thank you, nice to meet your acquaintance."
She is very alien whenever she gets there. Like she does not know the social hierarchy in the school. Very oblivious as to who she should be talking to, or who would even give a shit about talking to her. And she really focuses on Stokely, who is funny enough. I have like a theme of identity and everything, but Stokely, she pretends to be a lesbian as a way as like a defense mechanism, but she's apparently not really a lesbian. Maybe she's bi. I don't know. But in real life, that actress is a lesbian.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, the actress is a lesbian. So she's a lesbian that was playing a fake lesbian.
Interesting. The whole lesbian thing in this movie is weird to me because Mary Beth's like, you should be a lesbian. Please be one. Like, are you interested? Like, are you interested in her? Do you want to experiment? Hand to God, I always had a crush on Stokely.
They kind of lean into like the geeky theme with like Casey by calling him, like at one point he's called the geeky Stephen King kid.
Yeah.
Casey's super cute in this movie.
His character's great. He really reflects, like you're talking about the Breakfast Club, he really reflects Anthony Michael Hall's kind of vibe there a bit.
Yeah. He finds the little alien species out on the field, and he's the one who's like all interested in figuring out what it is. And they kind of talk about the science of like what it might be, and who originally was like hypothesizing that there was an alien takeover at the school.
Kind of. Because people were starting to act weird, and he's like, they joked around. And I think maybe he and Stokely kind of, because I remember he's eating lunch outside, doing that whole exterior pondering shot of him just looking out. And then he finds what looks to me like a rat fetus. Like, that's what that thing looks like. I would not pick that up. That's just me.
It was very gross. And then when it starts like multiplying and it has all these like tendril things, it almost like, almost like nerves.
Yeah, which when Stokely puts her hand up to the fish tank, it does that. I thought that was so cool. Like, even back then, I thought it was a cool effect.
It was a really cool effect because then you can see how it kind of like take over as the person because it takes over their nervous system by, I mean, I guess it would just it's whatever route your body had already, it would just take the place of that with the red things.
Yeah, I
It
think it
was
like
crazy.
multiplies in you and then utilizes those, tentacle things to control your nervous system and then the electronic impulses in your brain. I'm not a scientist, but that's my guess.
I agree. This sounds like scientifically very accurate. When it comes to the social hierarchy, I mean, as we get through this story, it changes, but in the beginning they're all very much like their stereotypical place. Like so Stan's dating Delilah, but then he like doesn't want to be known as the jock. He wants to earn his D. He wants to be a D student.
Yeah, he's just trying to get that D. That's all that
He's
matters.
trying to get that D. I don't get that whole like storyline for him, but if he wants to, be known for something other than his brute force, then more power to him. I'm not going to tell anyone what their identity should be.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it. He doesn't want things handed to him because he's always talking about like, he's given a better grade because he's the jock and the star quarterback. And when he doesn't want to do that, I know Delilah's like, well, what do you think? I'm the head cheerleader, so we're not going to date anymore because
Hmm.
you want to get that D.
Yeah. And we are talking about the grade in school.
Yeah.
He wants to fail
Yeah. Or
on his own.
defense.
So once we get through that, we have like a theme of fear of authority and then mistrust of adults. When like teachers, coaches, and school staff, we normally see them as protectors, but then in this movie, they become literal monsters attacking the kids. This flips the student teacher dynamic and reflects teen suspicion of adult control, especially during adolescence. I know that I felt like very weary of the adults and their intentions and do they really want what's best for me or do they just want me to sit down and shut up?
Yeah. I never trusted adults. I had a lot of childhood trauma, but most of it is just you watch horror movies and the adults they're fucking dim-witted assholes. They don't know what to do. They don't believe any teenager in a horror movie.
No, and that comes back in the end. We'll talk about that later, but that does come back in the end. But, we've got poor little Casey who he reports the fact that he saw the nurse like be attacked by the coach and the other teacher. And of course, they completely ignore his concerns. They think he's crazy. This is a time when mental health was not, it was frowned upon. It was frowned, like if you needed help with mental health, you were seen as having a problem, like
Yeah.
being a problem.
Yeah, they called it the blues when I was a kid. Like, oh, you're mopey. You've got the blues. Cheer up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And now they're
Oh
like,
my
oh my God.
God, that
Yeah,
takes me back. That whole
I know.
phrase. I felt so bad for the one teacher, the older lady.
Oh yeah, because there's that shower thing and
That
yeah,
scene. That scene was so brutal.
it's gross.
It is gross.
I mean, I feel bad for her, but I'm like, once your scalp comes off in my hand, I'm like, ugh, I like have to shove her away, and then I'd feel bad again, but then I'd still be holding her scalp.
Yeah, and then he's like naked in there. We've got poor Stan naked showering, and this like old woman teacher comes in, and then they try to play it off like it's cancer. And so
Yeah,
automatically they know like everyone's lying to them. Her behavior was really weird. She said some weird shit. Everything's just pointing to like, don't trust the adults in this movie. So, but
yeah,
it's just reflective of the adolescent and like the adolescence and the authority figures and the distrust that's there.
yeah. The hey, teachers leave them kids alone, which is just a theme throughout most high school movies in the 90s.
Hmm.
I gotta ask, did you, because they like hiding in the closet and then that old lady comes out and falls down on them, they run out. Did you
Hmm.
notice that they dressed her up as a CPR? Like there's a close up to the face and you can see human teeth in that CPR doll.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't notice that.
I rewatched this for the podcast and then I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that part because I'm like, why are they zooming in on the CPR doll? And then you see it, I'm like, oh, these crafty motherfuckers.
That's so gross. The CPR dolls don't have real teeth.
Yeah, it's gross. If you go back, like I highly suggest people not only see this movie, but go back to that scene. You
Hmm.
can see it.
Is there anything that stood out to you about like the teachers and the any of the lies that they were spinning or things that they were doing?
Yeah, I mean, they were easily manipulative for aliens from another planet. I mean, I'm assuming they're utilizing the knowledge of their host. I mean, that's probably typical 101 invasion stuff, but they
Hmm.
were very convincing and very just like never defensive, which I think was their biggest strength. So the fact that they were calm and collective probably helped them get as far as they did. And it's what made their lies believable. Like, you got Shooter McGavin as Casey's dad, who
Yeah.
is just not believing him. They think he's on drugs, and he's like, I'm not on drugs. This is what's fucking happened. And again, this is why you don't trust a parent in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. And I just think it's like when they're lining the kids up, you like, here's an ear exam, like they're doing that. Or she's like, hey, officer, why don't you come into the office and speak to me? And then he, you know, Casey's like, oh, they got him. And you
Yeah.
can tell he's just different. But I think that was their biggest weapon is their calm and collectiveness.
Yeah, and I think like as you were talking, it made me think about the fact that like the alien form targeted the adults purposely first because that's how I mean, they're the ones that are in control of the school. They're the ones that have the trust, so they're going to be able to disperse this extraterrestrial being upon the students. Yeah, they are very convincing. It's so creepy because like everyone is just needs water all the time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean it's summer, so people can understand that. And in high school, most people are thirsty bitches anyways. So I mean, there's that aspect. But they are like, there's that one teacher who stabbed the principal, just throws water in her face while they're hiding in the closet. I'm like, what's that supposed to do? I guess they have the tentacles that can come out of their face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. They come from an aquatic planet. So, and that's
Hmm.
why the old lady didn't work. They say like she was old, she couldn't hold enough water, like she dried out too fast. So,
Yeah, and our bodies are mostly made of water, so they're able
perfect
to use
host.
us as a host, but we don't have enough water to like not for what they need, especially when they're multiplying like that. It's no. I also thought it was really interesting that they went with like an aquatic extraterrestrial being because there's so much we don't know about the water, about the ocean, like most of
True.
our planet.
That's scarier than space to me.
Yeah, because it's right here and we don't even know.
Yeah. Plus, it can crush you in an instant. Like, and you get so deep that they say if you get so deep in the ocean, that's at a point that you may never come back.
Hmm.
That's the scare, and it's dark, and yeah, the oceans have so many creatures that haven't been discovered yet. Even in
Yeah.
some lakes, it's insane. So, who wants to be underwater? Like, I don't know. Maybe they had the whole aliens be aquatic so they could have that pool scene later on, which we can talk about.
Yeah.
But or it just made sense. Like, I guess that was the kind of the catalyst for that.
Yeah, no, I just thought I was like, if all the things like if I was going to believe that there's an alien life form on Earth, like it would probably be in the ocean.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the next theme I have in here is conformity versus individuality. And this is the biggest theme of this whole movie. So the alien parasite enforces absolute conformity. Like we were saying about the teacher at the beginning, like there were no emotions. Even like they're so believable because they're not emotional, like they're so logical. It's just like a computer, doing what it has to do. There's no rebellion, it's just order. Everyone's working. If you are part of the hive mind, then you are working with everyone else who's in the hive mind. So like, are you going to believe the person that is running around saying there are aliens taking over the school, or the majority of the people who are working together and seem very peaceful?
Yeah, strength in numbers, and plus they were just basically soldier ants serving their queen. But yeah, it's weird because you had the couple who are always arguing and slapping each other, and then they get taken over and they're lovey-dovey. They're trying to create that pot. Aliens, when they take over, they want a positive atmosphere until things go to shit, and then that's when things just get crazy. But yeah, it's like, did they watch a bunch of Leave It to Beaver in space, and they're like, oh, everyone's gonna conform this way and just be la-ti-da, we're gonna fall in line? I don't know.
I mean, it was just very invasion of the body snatchers, like completely taking over them, even like keeping them from dying, which was an odd part of it that never really gets spoken about. When the one teacher gets her head chopped off.
Ooh, yeah. I think that's a little bit later in the movie. I think, yeah.
Yeah, Miss Burke. So Miss Burke, and she has a really inappropriate relationship with Zeke.
Well, I mean, he has a very inappropriateness with her too, because she's just very like calm. She's got the librarian vibe, she's very quiet and reserved. And she catches him, dealing drugs, and then he does that whole condom scene, which is very, very offensive.
I mean, I'll just get into it now. Like at the end of the movie, she's like in the bleachers, like waving at him.
Yeah.
So creepy.
Well, he's overage, so I think it's fine, but he's also a student.
It is not fine.
He's over 18.
One of the writers on this had a teacher fantasy that they wrote into this script.
Probably. But do we really know how old she is?
She's not high school aged.
Probably just out of college, I would assume. But I get like it's inappropriate. She's acting like a schoolgirl while he's in the stands stuff. But that, I'll tell you what, that lady should have got possessed by aliens sooner, because she ripped his ass apart, and it was well deserved.
Yeah, no, that was again, like, why are you, like, she's a teacher coming into school wearing this like sexy red dress and like slapping students around. It's like that someone had a fantasy there that they were definitely playing out in their writing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It was so ridiculous. All right, so back to conformity versus individuality. All right, so I have some notes in here. At the beginning of the movie, they go over the teacher is talking about in history class, like the nation of the state, only through conformity of the masses can the unified state of the masses offer the benefits of power, order, and security. So that was very much like a foreshadowing of what was going to happen.
Oh yeah. I like when directors and writers sprinkle that shit in throughout a movie, like these little Easter egg things and little like hints that you can go back and check out.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of that in here. Like there was another one, Miss Burke tells Zeke that he is, or no, because he's very smart, right? He plays this role of being like the shithead drug dealing high school student that's just like an underachiever and a burnout. But really, he's extremely smart. He's able to like make these drugs. So he's basically a chemist.
He's like Jesse from Gilmore Girls, basically.
Yeah.
I've never seen that show. What?
I love Gilmore Girls.
I do too.
He says, like, I'm a walking contradiction, I think is the exact phrase that he says.
Yeah.
Because Miss Burke confronts him like, you didn't have to fail. You could have graduated. Like, why did you come back? Maybe it was for her. No.
Maybe he just had a good like enterprise with that scat drug that he had, or maybe he just didn't want to be alone, because if he graduated high school, he's not going to go to college and he'll be alone. So maybe this is a way to still have people around.
Yeah, this is true. That's a good point. There is the whole scene at the end of the movie where everything kind of gets revealed. They're in the bleachers, and Mary Beth starts to say, like, she's like, maybe it made them better being taken over by the alien life form. And it kind of starts turning into this like weird conversation where Stokely's like, oh, what is going on? You know, she kind of like looks back at her and then she gets punched in the face. It reads like she says something. She's like, maybe it made him better than he was. Clearly, he was confused, I think is what she says. And it reads like conversion therapy, is what I said.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a very weird. She gives a Bond villain speech after what I think is the best kill in the movie when they throw all that scat at the principal and she just melts.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes into the Bond villain and just basically, she doesn't reveal her plan, but she's like, yeah, I get it. These people are better. So yeah, it's totally, like you said, it is conversion there. I never really thought of it that way.
She says, aren't you tired of being something you're not? I know I am. And that's when you realize, like, oh shit, this bitch is, you know, she's the alien.
They drop little breadcrumbs throughout this movie. Because if you rewatch it and think, okay, Mary Beth's the alien the whole time, you can kind of see that she plays that new girl just trying to fit in because she's an alien. So, and it's her making out with Josh Hartnett, her doing the whole drug thing, which we find out she doesn't.
Yeah.
And then her nude reveal, as I like to call it, her revealing reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Which we should we talk about that?
Yeah, we can totally talk about that.
Okay. Here's the only thing I don't like about this movie. I am not a
Okay.
big fan of unnecessary nudity in a movie. Like, sure, boobs are cool, great, but what does that have to do with the plot? It's very distracting from the plot. I'm ripping up my man card right now. Yeah, it's just like, so she chases her, her face melts, and then she turns into the queen and goes into the pool, and there's that whole shit with Stokely slamming her face and getting drug under, and all that shit happens. And then she just shadow turns into a naked person.
Yeah.
And then Zeke's like, why are you naked?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, don't you like my body? Don't you like it?
So the only point that I saw to the nudity is that, you know, she did go through the transformation of taking on her monster form, and then she transforms back to human, her human shape. It would be kind of impractical for her to still have the clothes after that point, and
Okay.
she's trying to destroy all of them. So that's how I saw it. I saw it as like we got our big reveal, and now like I also saw it as like it is an alien, and so they don't care. She doesn't care about the fact that she has boobs and she's naked. Like aliens don't wear clothes.
True. Look at Alf. He only wore button-up shirts.
It's the humans that care about the clothes and care about nudity. So after she's went through a transformation and she's, you know, she's going to go back and forth at least another time. Why does she care about the clothes?
Okay. Good point. That makes sense. I didn't think about her, you know, weird transformation to transfer clothes too. So that makes sense. I just thought of it as like, hey, you know, when she's like, don't you like my body? It was just a way for her to be like, well, you're going to die soon. So enjoy this weird meat sack that I have.
I saw it as like, okay, this is like the odd thing that stands out between the two of like, especially because at that point, Zeke was trying to figure out who the alien was and who the alien wasn't. So it's like, okay, who seems the weirdest right now? Well, the naked girl. Like, why are you naked? This is weird. You're obviously the alien.
Wow, I'm like rethinking everything about this movie just by that whole simple point that she couldn't assimilate clothes.
Yeah.
You just blew my world.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Like you would think the boobs would short my fuse, but it didn't. It's the whole aspect that she can't assimilate clothes with her disguise, which is, I don't know, she's some kind of metamorph kind of weird thing. I don't know what she is.
Okay, so we're in the locker room now, and Mary Beth it's just like her and Casey at this point because like Zeke is knocked out at some point, and she starts going on this rant. And that's where she's got her monologue. And
Which is
she,
beautifully shot, by the way. That whole shadow and everything, I love it.
oh yeah, with all like the tentacles and everything, it is really good because it's like that's what her real identity is. So like that's what her shadow was. It was really cool. I went through and I wrote down her entire speech because it explains pretty much the entire movie.
Oh, nice.
So I will read it to you now. Her planet had dried up and she was able to escape. And then she saw herself in them. And I think when she says them, I think she's referring to the human race. And she thought by taking over the species, she saw that they were lost and lonely like her. And she says, I thought that maybe I could give you a taste of my world, a world without anger, without fear, without attitude, where the underachiever goes home at night to parents who care. The jock can be smart, the ugly duckling beautiful, and the class wuss doesn't have to live in terror. And the new girl can fit in with people who are just like her. And she says, even my feelings can be hurt by a bunch of pathetic, lost little outcasts who truly believe their disaffected, lonely life is the only way they can survive. And then she says, I can make you part of something so special, so perfect, so fearless. And then Casey responds with, I'd rather be afraid.
Here's the thing. I know he's very smart, but that's one hell of a sales pitch. I might have been sold. I might have been like, yeah, okay, put these worms in me. I don't know. But, I think at the same time, it's like, I get his point very much. I don't want to be taken over by an alien, but,
Mm-hmm.
He's right. He'd rather be afraid because who wants to live life without feeling any emotion?
Just being like conforming to like a hive mind. Like that's scary. That's terrifying. That is not like we are so individualistic, especially in American culture, that is, I mean, that's like not even living to me.
Yeah, it's like living under the oppressive thumb of a dictatorship. It's, here's the rules, here's how you live.
Yeah.
Go on, live this way. You can't have any individuality. You can't be a person. If someone told me I can't laugh at fart videos, then I don't want to live anymore.
Right? I'm like, I would totally lose the will to live if this was the reality. But honestly, like with that speech, she can probably win like the World Peace Prize. She could get prom queen, maybe pageant queen. She can win it all because it was just like such a well placed speech, like well worded speech. But you have to ignore the whole like personal choice and free will thing.
Yeah,
And then it's perfect.
true.
The last theme I have in here is invasion and identity. So, like Stokely makes comments about like I always thought the only alien in this high school was me. And there's just like a lot of metaphors about losing yourself and peer pressure, and and that could be through like peer pressure, substance abuse, or social expectations.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when they wrap up the movie, like Zeke's the jock and Stan's just a cool person and Stokely's wearing colors besides black, and then Casey's dating the head cheerleader, but
Hmm.
it's still reflective that things don't completely change because there's a new kid getting his balls rammed into the flagpole at the end. But
Yeah.
yeah, there is a lot of like duality of things. Like it has a metaphor for preparing yourself for after high school, that just because you were the geek in high school doesn't mean you can't be a CEO of something, or just because you were a girl who got confused for being a lesbian doesn't mean you can't be something different, or you are a lesbian. You
Can't be
may
a house
discover that
mom
about
one
yourself.
day. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it. Like people always say like, "Oh, horror is, it's just fun." But it's like, no, it's commentary on life, and especially these coming of age horror movies were such a reflection of an adolescence experience. And it still is. Like we still have this push and pull between the two generations, and accepting each other is now being seen as, oh, you're turning our kids trans and gay. It's like, no, I'm just not hating your kid for being themselves, but okay, let's you can phrase it that way, I guess.
Yeah, it's like when I was a kid. Like if I wanted to do something, my mother, who is terrible, would always say, "Well, until you're 18, I own you." So, you know, it's like that mentality. You're right. Like we're just letting kids express themselves these days instead of being like, "Oh, well, we can't
Hmm.
be a they them. We should be an us."
Yeah, it's, it is that conformity. We are getting pushback, cultural pushback with the youth of today and the older generation not being comfortable with the individuality and self-expression that the younger generation has. That's a lot of our problems right now, and it's so stupid. But, I'll talk about that, my true wars portion. And then I have like some anecdotal, like my own experience of like dealing with authority and kind of pissing on them a little bit on their shoes. Um, Defiantly. Not really.
Good
That's
aim, by the
more
way. If you're pissing on their shoes, that's great aim.
they have cups for that. They make devices.
Do you ever look back as an adult and you're like, man, I did some fucked up stuff as a kid, and
No, they
thankfully I
fucking
never got it.
sucked. The adults sucked. So I'm
Oh yeah,
fine
they
with
did.
everything I did to them. All right. So I think like is this last theme? No, there are two more themes. Okay,
Oh
so let's
shit.
get through this one. This theme is about the teen alienation and substance abuse. So a lot of times like authority figures will try to explain away any like of the younger generation's qualms with saying like, oh, you're just on drugs. Like you're just wanting to be rebellious. You just want to be the contrarian. Like I heard that all the time. You just want to be a pot stirrer or whatever. There's a subversive theme where the alien fighting drug scat becomes a stand-in for rebellion. Ironically, drugs, typically a symbol of conformity or escape, become the tool of resistance, questioning what really defines deviance in society. So,
Yeah, it's weird. It's like some of the kids who were rebellious, they almost just did drugs in a way just to piss people off. I know when I was growing up, that's the only reason why I smoked weed, and to be cool, because I wanted to, be cool with my friends. But
so it's a diuretic. So it dries out. That's like why it works on the aliens because it dries them out. Whenever like their test of taking the drug, that was like a homage to the thing whenever they're testing their blood.
oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so that was like a homage to that. And then, so the whole, like, I guess the drug was mostly, he says, like, it's mostly caffeine and some household shit, is what Zeke says is in it. And it's like in a pen. So he's like stealing school supplies to make his drugs.
Oh yeah, he even does it like in a scene with that Mary Beth girl. He's going through the stuff. He's like, I'm here for supplies.
It basically reminded me of like a pixie stick. Like I remember kids being stupid and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna sniff this like pixie stick dust," and it looked like that, didn't it?
Yeah, no, it definitely reminded me of that. And also, do you remember those giant pixie sticks too
Oh
that
my
were in
God, yeah,
the huge straw like thing? It reminded me of that also.
yeah.
And it's yeah, kids when I was growing up, they would snort stupid shit too. Let's snort Smarties.
Oh my
Let's do
God,
this.
yeah.
And it's like that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
All right, so Casey defeats Mary Beth by he like has a few of those pens with the drug in it, and he like sticks it into like some maybe the eye. I don't know. You have the
Yeah,
memory.
he
Was it the
does. He
eye?
has some cool saying. He's like guaranteed to jack you up, and then he
Yes,
just
he
like
says
does that.
guaranteed to jack you up, and it's such a funny line.
Yeah, it's a nice callback to like Zeke selling the drugs in the beginning because that's how he kind of sells it. Like
Hmm.
he's like doing that thing with another scary part of this movie, Danny Masterson. He's selling that to him, and he's like, "Here you go, guaranteed to jack you up." It's a nice little callback to it.
I didn't even make that connection, but I do remember that. Yeah. Okay, so And we get the mistrust of the younger generation. So it kind of like does a full circle. So like in the beginning, we're not trusting the adults. And then at the end, it's like 1 month later, and things at Harrington High have returned to normal. The coach, oh, yeah, I put in here because the football coach is yelling at them. He calls them like fuck pukes.
Fuck pukes.
Yeah, he calls them fuck pukes.
You little fuck pukes. So like,
I don't even know what that is. It was such a weird insult. I was like, I have to put that down. Like, what the fuck is that?
feel free to cut this out, but is he calling them jizz? Because that's the only fuck puke I can think of.
Maybe.
Like you jizz faces or you jizz heads or something? I don't know.
That makes sense, actually. I'll keep it that in. That makes sense.
Wow, the first time I've ever made sense using jizz as an allegory for an insult. It's great.
Yeah, I guess you could call your jizz a fuck puke.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It's gross.
Yeah.
I would never suggest that. Like, hey, baby, here's my fuck puke. Because that's not appealing at all.
Hopefully it catches on now. I feel like this could be a new thing. We can make it a thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start calling like Trumpsters fuck pukes.
Oh, yeah, because they are just big old wads of jizz, aren't they?
Yeah. I think I'm going to start calling them that. And they won't even know what it's referencing, but like, it's so good. It's so good now. Now I really like that.
Nice.
Thing. But yeah, so they go over like there's the disappearances of the faculty members that they're investigating, and local authorities and FBI have discounted several students' claims that extraterrestrial beings were involved, and they're like, there's no evidence found. And so, that's kind of where we end. And you kind of mentioned too how they kind of switched roles.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Casey becomes popular and all these news media places are like trying to, she's throwing down all the magazines and stuff, and then like with him and stuff like that. And it's like he's kind of the king of the school now, but
they all switch, but they still fulfill whatever that role was. So it's not like they just switch roles, really. Which is fine. Whatever they want to do.
Yeah, it's just it shows one thing I love about movies like this, where a group of misfits come together, basically fight an oppression, or it's what I like to call the Goonie effect. Is you get a group of misfits from different groups, like a Breakfast Club like thing, and they come together, and Breakfast Club does the same thing. It's just, I like that, and I like how that movie does that, and it's just, even their roles reversing at the end, I think is their way of transitioning into not being afraid to be themselves.
Yeah, no, like reaching their full potential, right? Kind of, that sounded like I have a hairball in my mouth, but it's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We pretty much went through everything.
Yeah, I think the only thing I feel like we missed is Jon Stewart predicting that he was going to get pen stabbed in his eye, and then the mid-credit scene of him with his hands bandaged up and having an eye patch. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I didn't catch that. No.
So he's flirting with Salma Hayek in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, so are we going to hang out tonight? She's like, no. And he's like, well, just stab a pen in my eye. And then, of course, that happens. But then, you get the mid-credit, this thing where he's like saying hi, and he's got these bandages wrapped around because he got his fingers cut off. And then he's got the eye patch thing, which I think is one of my favorite callbacks throughout the whole movie. So that's the only thing I feel like we missed.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I totally missed that altogether. So that's really funny. That's a funny connection. I love when movies do that.
I do too.
All right. So the last thing I have for you is a blind ranking. So I have a bunch of late 90s, early 2000s, like teen horror flicks.
Okay.
And you have to blind rank them between 1 and 5.
Oh, shit. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I put these questions on my guests, as you know. So this is what I deserve.
Yeah, it's your comeuppance.
I was going to say, yeah, no, it totally is.
So I have it on a spinny wheel. I have like 20 movies on this wheel. And so it's going to be totally random. I will let you know. I can't show you my screen because then you would know what movies are on this.
Okay, so it's total blind, but with a spinning wheel.
Totally blind. And to keep my bias out of it, I have a spinny wheel.
Okay, that is fair, and I accept the challenge.
Perfect. You have no choice. And now, so I'm going to spin. I'll let you know what movie it is, and then you place it between 1 and 5. 1 being the best, five being the worst.
And so I can only rank 1, 5, and 1, 4. So it's like 5 movies. I have to blind rank them, only 1 score each.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Your first movie you got is Scream 2.
I'm gonna rank that 5.
Okay.
As the lowest, because that is not a good sequel. I do not enjoy it. You lose Randy. You have the sister from Roseanne as the killer.
Oh my God, yeah, that's true.
It's just a weird movie, and there's a lot of mess ups because the script got leaked, so they kind of had to do a bunch of shit. So I don't enjoy it. I still like it, but yeah, I would rank that pretty low.
Okay. No, I agree. I agree with that choice. All right. Next one.
Suspense is killing me.
Okay, Halloween H2O.
Ooh, how it all connects with Josh Hartnett. Here's the thing. People hate that movie. I enjoy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right in the middle as a 3.
Okay. I don't hate it. I think it's better than the Halloween that has like the reality show on it.
Oh, Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah. It's
with
still
Busta
better than
Rhymes.
that.
Yeah. No, I like H2O a lot better than that one for sure.
And so next one. Okay, Wrong Turn.
Ooh, okay. Now, are we talking the original or the remake?
Weird. I mean, we're talking the 2000s version.
Okay. That's tough. For safety, I'm going to put that at 4. I do enjoy it.
Okay.
But it's not one I would like rewatch. It's one that I would like if I'm in the mood to go through a franchise and that pops up, I will definitely watch it, but I'm not eagerly seeking it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay, the original Scream.
Okay. So this is tough because I have so much love for Wes Craven. This is why I'm cosmically connected to horror. I share my birthday with Wes Craven. August 2nd, same birthday. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I love everything that he's done. Oh, but it's like, what if you get my favorite movie and then I have to like say it's not number 1? You know what? I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna put that as number 1.
Ah, Cry Wolf. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I remember the cover. It's like the guy's got like a ski mask on it, and
yeah,
it's like one of those like who done it, kind of movies.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Valentine is. It's like I think it's like a little bit of a revenge movie.
Uh-huh.
I've only seen that movie twice. So it being another number 2 makes sense because it's kind of shit. So that's accurate. But yeah, I don't regret my decision. I played it too safe, thinking that one of my favorites would come out, and I failed. Apologize because I would not put Cry Wolf second if I had a choice.
Yeah, I feel like Cry Wolf would have been my number 5.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, out of those. But it is a blind ranking, so there's a lot of leniency there.
True.
And all right, so we've got number 1 at Scream, 2 Cry Wolf, 3 Halloween H2O, 4 Wrong Turn, and 5 Scream 2.
I don't hate it. I hate that the number 2 spot is there. I might have like switched maybe Wrong Turn with that.
Yeah.
But I still feel good about Scream 2 being 5 because, it's just I enjoy it, but at the same time, there's just a lot of weird shit that I don't like about it.
Yeah, I get it. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
And I thought that maybe I could give you a taste of my world. A world without anger, without fear, without attitude.
where the underachiever goes home at night to parents who care. The jock can be smart, the ugly duckling beautiful, and the class wuss doesn't have to live in terror. And the new girl, well, the new girl, she can just fit right in with people who are just like her.
The true horrors behind this teen sci-fi classic is forced conformity in high schools, where obedience has been prioritized over safety, individuality, or justice. The true story I'll tell today reads like something out of the faculty, except it really happened. First, I want to talk about a personal connection I have to forced conformity in high school, which I never felt like I fit in, so there's that. If you're labeled as different, what happens to you is not reacted to with the same urgency or care as the students that are living up to the cultural standards. I remember relating to the Stokely character and just wanting everyone to leave me the fuck alone. I also talked a lot of shit, just like her. There was a time when I was targeted by my homeroom teacher in probably 11th grade for not standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Before you go on and be like, how can you not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? That's not American. If you don't like patriotism, then go to a different country. Oh my God. And that's how you fucking sound. Whether you're a boy or a girl, you sound like a dumb bitch when you say that. I've heard it all before. And your inability to use critical thinking skills is not my problem. Actually, my refusal to stand for the pledge started when I was in elementary school because of the religion I was raised in. I was told not to idolize any symbols in the Jehovah's Witness Church, and believe it or not, that made sense to me. All the other shit made no sense, but not worshiping a symbol or a person or thing was something that I could stand for or sit down on my ass for, actually, as it would be. It didn't make me less American. It made me a person that didn't want to divide myself from others over fabric and a symbol. I wanted to divide myself from people that would attack others for being different. And because this is a country with free speech, and I never want to live under a dictatorship, I could and I should be able to sit on my ass while everyone else stands up with their right hand crossed over their heart, praising the flag and their allegiance to this country. Well, in the name of conformity and what was being touted as respect instead of just control, my teacher, this old-ass white man that looked like had hypothyroid and walked with a slight hunch. His pants were always a little too big for his waist, and he moved very slow, like a turtle. He would berate me in front of the class and tell me how un-American I was, while I sat there completely pan-faced and unwilling to move an inch. If you tried to get me to stand, my whole body would have gone full rigor mortis. You would probably think I was possessed by the devil, but really, I was possessed by free will. Well, after so long of this back and forth, my teacher decided to call in the big dog, the ROTC coach at my school, which was literally called Freedom High School. Seriously, fuck my life at this point in time. I could not jump out of a second floor window fast enough to get away from those people and that environment. One morning, so as I was saying, there's a knock at our classroom door, and my teacher gets up with kind of a smile on his face. Like he's actually happy that morning. And I was like, oh, it's fucking weird. My teacher goes to the door and says that he has a special surprise for me. He actually sounded happy. And that was a moment of, what the fuck is this now? I knew my rights and I wasn't scared. I was pissed. I knew I did nothing wrong, and this extreme effort into making me conform just proved that what I was doing was important. So the ROTC coach started to yell in my face about respect for the country, blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all before. I honestly didn't pick up very much of what he was saying because yelling in someone's face is never a way to change their mind. I just stood there, disassociated, and I probably started to laugh at him because that's a nervous tic I have, and it's frustrating to people that try to intimidate me. You know, laughing in their face and smiling at them as they try to be tough and crack you. All they ended up doing was bringing out the psychotic side of me that was willing to die on whatever hill I had climbed that day. After a few minutes of me slowly blinking, smirking, and responding with, It's my right to sit or stand. The ROTC coach at my school looked at my teacher and said, there's nothing I can do. She isn't going to budge, and you can't make her stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. That was it. I had won the battle. It was the battle of wills, one teenage high school girl versus two men of authority, and one that was usually very frightening. My teacher was standing there the whole time, and I would be lying if I didn't say that his failed attempt at breaking me wasn't 100% satisfying. In my conversation, I talk about how the faculty, it all sounds like conversion therapy, especially Mary Beth's speech at the end about everyone being in peace and harmony, and everyone gets along, and there's no bad experience. Really, like the conformity, enforced conformity, it reflects the muffled voices of the LGBTQ+ students. In schools across the US, especially in the states with the Don't Say Gay policies or the anti-LGBTQ+ guidelines, students have been silenced for expressing their identity. Some have been disciplined for wearing pride flags or starting GSAs, gay straight alliances, at their schools, or even acknowledging queer topics in class presentation. They've been told that they're inappropriate, that they're disrupting the school, that they have to be silenced because of order and safety for the students, right? We like to blanket things with those words, even though those words don't actually mean what they're intending in that context, at least. So we've got our theme of forced erasure as conformity, school as a tool for cultural suppression. And that's why I left teaching. I couldn't do it when I was a student, and I sure as fuck can't do it to other kids. So, and I'll never go back. Let's end on a high note. Now it's time for my weekly horror update. Megan 2.0 crashes in the box office with only $10 million for its opening weekend. So what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Megan sucks. I Know What You Did Last Summer gets collectible color-changing cups and popcorn bucket. So where can you find that? That is going to be at the Regal Theaters, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing that. I missed out on the monkey popcorn bucket from the movie The Monkey, and I will not miss out on another item with my movie-going experience, and I want it. I want it. When Evil Lurks director is developing a vampire comedy called Felix, A Complex Puzzle. It sounds like a really interesting vampire movie, very different than what we typically see in a vampire story. I'm definitely interested in checking this one out and seeing if it is a hit or a miss with me. You never know. In my news, I am going to have a horror trivia event on July 22nd, which is actually going to be my 38th birthday. So if you are a local person that listens to my show, you should come and celebrate my birthday with me. If you are a friend of mine, I am going to hound you. You're going to come to my trivia event, and it's also my birthday party, basically. So I'm throwing my own birthday party, and I'm inviting you all. The movies I'm going to be basing my trivia on are Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, and The Faculty. All movies I'm covering this month. And so yeah, teen slashers is what I'm doing for this month. There will be prizes. I'm not doing costume contests anymore because not enough people participated. It was a flop. And you know what? When something doesn't work, you don't try to continue to make it work. You just say, you know, people don't really want to dress up all the time, all year long. I do, but not everyone does. All right. If you have any movie suggestions that could fit into my category of the month, you can always email those to me, and there's a chance that I will watch that movie and rate it on my Scream scale. You can email me at screamqueenpodcaster@gmail.com. I'll shout you out for participating and supporting the podcast. This is a weekly podcast with new episodes out every Thursday. All the research, writing, and audio is done by yours truly. This is a one-woman show, and I'm doing my very best. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. It really means a lot. You can find me on Instagram at Scream Queen Podcaster, Blue Sky at Scream Queen Podcast, TikTok at Scream Queen Podcast, and there's a link tree that will send you to my YouTube and Facebook page as well. Remember, conformity is basically the same thing as death. Bye.